So this section is all about integration with the phone. When you look at the phone, well, you've got a lot of stuff you can integrate with. For example, you've got a camera, you've got GPS, you've got a contact list, you've got all sorts of stuff you can just simply play around with. First thing we're going to look at is called the Euro Launcher. Euro Launcher is a pretty simple package, but a pretty powerful one too. It allows you to launch things based on, well, where they're supposed to go. For example, a phone number, an SMS, an email, anything of that nature. So let's just dive in here. First thing we need to do is install it. Let's crack open our pubspec.yaml. Packages get. And once we've got that, we can go ahead and play around with this thing. So we're going to import the Euro Launcher. And let's go ahead and import Dart as well. I should say Dart Async. All right, let's go ahead and run this just to make sure it runs as expected. And while we're waiting for that to build and run, we can actually plan out our user interface here. What I want to do is get rid of this guy and just add some buttons going down and have them centered. So it does run. We've got the package in there as expected. Let's grab our column here and we'll say main axis alignment, and let's say space evenly. And let's do our cross axis alignment. And we want to center those. Add our text in here, and let's just say URL. We're going to add a bunch of these. So we got URL, email, SMS, and let's say telephone. Save that, and that's what our beautiful little interface is going to look like. The buttons are disabled because we don't have it on pressed yet. So let's go ahead and create those. Let's go up here and let's do show telephone. And last but surely not least, show SMS. Now, because all of these use the same package, we can pretty much get away with just making one function to launch them all, because that's the function of this package, is just to launch any type of URL we throw at it based on its formatting. We'll make this async, and we're going to say if await, and let's look for can launch. Make sure we can actually launch that. And if we cannot, let's just throw an error here. There we go. And if we can actually launch it, let's just say await, and pretty simple, we're just going to launch. Now we want to fill in each one of these here. So let's just say have that one launch my website, and we can just copy and paste this. Have it show email, have it show telephone, and last but surely not least, have it show SMS. We can actually just grab the same thing here. Fill in the blanks. Let's rerun this from start just to make sure everything runs as expected. We're going to launch our URL. And notice how suddenly it pops up and says, what do you want to do this with? We're going to select Chrome, and we're going to say just once. We could say always, but just once just because. And then, of course, it wants to launch everything in Chrome. There we go. So there's my website. Let's launch an email. Of course, it's going to say, hey, what do you want to email this to? If you're wondering what this voidrealm005@gmail, it's just a dummy account I made for this set of tutorials. SMS, same thing. We can actually send an SMS message, and then telephone. So, like I said, pretty simple but extremely powerful package that allows some pretty deep phone integration.